and welcome to Who Dares Rolls Mumble Jumbo for December it was a bit about the 18th when I'm filming this. However, who knows when this will come out. I will plan to get this out before the big day. I'm also planning to see if I can do a best of video. I think we'll do on them. I might involve the various gaming groups to see if they're amenable to being near a camera. And just getting to get our thoughts and feelings of stuff we've played this year that rate highly in our pantheon of game played experiences. That sounded very cool. Yeah, so stuff like that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be new releases this year. I'm going to kind of aim at stuff, you know, what have we played this year? What have we really enjoyed? What has been the highlights? So that'd be interesting to see whether that spans out across the two different gaming groups and what is said. Let's see what happens. Who knows? And of course, I open this up to yourselves. Is there anything? Is there a crowning achievement in your gameplay calendar this year that you went, I fucking enjoyed that? I'm sure there is. I can think of a couple. I'm not going to worry about it now. We're going to do a whole separate video about that. So, with all of that out of the way, let us dive into what I've been playing. Played is very light on the ground. It's going to be very straightforward. 2 games. Predominantly 2 games. Friday recently just gone, we played Wingspan, whatever. Stonemaier Games game, Elizabeth Hargreaves design game, very big, popular game. Big, with the muggles and across the board. This one definitely broke some boundaries and kind of sanded down the edges between us and them in the game playing worlds. Wingspan, a tableau building kind of deck. Engine builder, that's what it is, an engine builder. You essentially get cards of birds, you put it on a thing in front of you, you have so many cubes you can put down, and you build like a tableau of cards, and then at some point in time you activate them by doing actions. And boom, 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 boom. Mechanism wise, it's a solid bit of mechanisms. I mean, the base game, and I've only ever played the base game about 3 or 4 times, is okay. It's a thing that's doing the thing that does the thing. The problem is here. Is me, not the game. I just bounce off of the theme, what there is of it. It just doesn't, I have no engagement in the theme whatsoever. We're collecting birds and stuff. It all looks perfectly cool. And Ben has got a fucking semi-detached house of this fucking thing now. Big box. I don't know how much he's played of it, but there's expansions and all sorts in there. Now, maybe the expansions do something to the gameplay experience, but ultimately, my big issue is the theme just doesn't stick. It's just, I just don't engage with the theme. I don't really, Now, if I was building death machines or, I don't know, something else, just if it was doing something else, then that would probably engage me more. As it is, I played it, I scored all right. I've not played it nearly enough to really have any grasp of tactics, strategy or anything else. Ben, who has played it definitely more than us, as he's got a big fucking box of it, did his usual pum 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 pum. Not that I wasn't like table flipping stage at this point or anything like that. But yeah, I think that's the bigger problem is, you know what, I get to the end of a game of that, Wingspan, and I go, well, that was all right, but I could have probably played a different game with some more theme and excitement and things that engage me for the same length of period of time, and I would have preferred to have done that. But there you go, Wingspan thing. If that's, I don't know. It's a popular game. Everyone likes it. A lot of people liked it. I've nothing wrong with the game design itself. The theme, as I say, just don't engage me whatsoever. However, the other game we played did engage me. We had a game of Twilight Imperium, a 4-player game with the Sunday crowd. It was Jamie's birthday, so we said, what do you want to play, Jamie? And he said, I want to play Twilight Imperium. And I was like, that's a good choice, Jamie. So we played that. I cannot remember. Well, I did a preset board. I just remember what factions I played, and I honestly can't remember. But yeah, I did a pre-built board that I looked on Board Game Geek for some 4-player game pre-built boards. George, son number 2, was in here with me. I said, which one should we have? And I threw out some titles, and he picked one. We had that. What I liked about it was it didn't have a lot of very big high-value planets. So looking at already when it was built, the board layout, you were like, oh, this is going to be a bit tighter because there's going to have to be an economy of getting those planets. They're going to be very important because you're not going to be earning a massive amount of influence or commodities and stuff to be able to build shit. So it's going to be a bit more of a Cold War situation of building forces. There. So we did that. I took the cards out with factions and just basically did a draft for everyone. I think I dealt everyone about 3 cards. So pick one of those, which we all did. I had some really good choices actually. The gene splicers, which really tempted me. I can't remember what the other one was. And then I had like the bugs, space bugs. I think it was. It had lots of extra fighting abilities. So we went into it. We played that. It was, as I suspected, a really tight sort of battle because you were kind of trying to get planets, and me and Robbie were kind of butted up against each other. We only played it up to 10 points because I thought it was going to run long anyway. Tony went straight on the offensive, actually, surprisingly. I can't remember who he was, but he managed to get a big fucking flagship out. His ability was he got flagship out very early doors. And he was all over the shit. And in fact, he engaged in like round 3 or 4, maybe not even that much. He attacked Jamie. He built a big force, but then poof, he was in and he was having a pop at him. Really early doors, and that kind of threw everyone on a bit of a tilt because Tony's not an aggressor normally. He usually kind of thinks things through, and he's quite methodical, and he's usually up turtling. So that was a change of scene for him, and that was like, oh, hello, Tony's woken up. That kind of tipped Jamie off a little bit off balance because he didn't see that coming, and it did take out a big force he had. And I think he had other plans for going for Medical Rex at that point in time. As it rolled out, Jamie did get Medical Rex, and I ended up in an alliance with him that gave me an extra buff on my fighting. So it made me really, really quite naughty. The only disadvantage was I couldn't attack Jamie because I'd lose that ability. So Jamie grabbed Medical Rex, but we kept cock blocking him on getting the Imperium card, which gives him more victory points. Robbie had got a lot of points, and so had Tony. Robbie then started attacking Jamie over this side of the map and left himself open where I could look. I had upgraded my ships. I had this massive amount of attack. Essentially, I was murdering on rolls of 3 or 4, maybe even less. I was quite brutal. And I watched him spread himself out, attack Jamie, and he left me a clear run. And I'd upgraded all my ships. I had 2 speed on them. And essentially what I did is, in a staggered formation, I attacked him from the rear, took his planets out, wiped out his fleets, with the intention of essentially taking his homeworld and cutting him entirely off from his production facilities. Which, stage 1 of that worked like a charm. He didn't see it coming. I had too many forces. He couldn't do anything about that. He'd split his forces quite thin. I'd taken the space dock, all sorts of shit. I had fucked him up. The problem was the game had rolled on quicker than I thought it had. And actually, within the next round, he was able to hit the 10 points, win the game. So I just was about a round behind what I should have done. But what wonderful fun it was. I loved Twilight Imperium. If you've never played it, then I appreciate it. A, it's an expensive proposition, and B, it's a daunting prospect. Although, once you've played it and played it a couple of times, it's actually relatively straightforward. It's not a lot to it. And it's more the nuance of your faction, what you're doing, and what everyone else is doing at the table. But it is this big space opera-y epic thing. I enjoyed the pre-built map. I thought that was kind of fun. Added a little kind of different feel to the game because we were scrabbling over resources. And yeah, I mean, it's an epic game of storytelling and things. There was this, alliances. There was the big battles going on, and just one more round and I probably could have snuck in there and taken out Robbie's home world and basically fucked him. I mean, his economy was already, and he would have struggled to come back, and he was pinched at this point in time between me and Jamie. I don't know what I would have done with Jamie down the road, but hey. But yeah, I mean, it was about 4 or 5 hours of that. It is a wonderful game. I love it dearly. It is one of my most favourite treasured things ever. One day I will play it. Like a 6 or 8 player count, or whatever it goes up to, 6 player. I'll do that one day, because that would be a thing. But I'd really want to know that the people on the table knew what they were doing, so we weren't stuck with a special person making it a bit painful. So there you go. That is played. I guess we got some news, and there is quite a bit of news going on. I've looked. I was like, I've written a lot this month, week, year, day. I don't know. Stuff is written. That's the news. ready for news. News, all the news. Right, well, we'll just start. There's no specific order to this. I've just scribbled stuff down. Nuculum is getting an expansion. Australia map has got on board of Australia and some extra bits like ships and other bits and pieces. Adding more stuff to Nuculum. I was going to turn and go, Nuculum, but it's not there. It is evaporated, but it was there. There's now some pink bowls that Isaac's clearly brought in and left for me. Thank you, Isaac. Maybe Nuculum has transmogrified into those bowls. How exciting. Amazing. It became so Euro, it turned into a bowl. Right, I've distracted myself. Nuculum. So yeah, I haven't yet really actually got it to table and had a proper play of this. I have played a couple of solo games of it. It is quite a dense Euro with a really cool tile selection mechanism in it that I think is really cool. I want to play it with a group of people. It only plays 4, and often Fridays are 5s. So it's probably going to be the Sunday crowd, and I'll just have to see when I can squeeze that in. The teach is the thing that just kind of daunts me, but we'll see. But yeah, Nuculum's got an Australia map as an expansion next year. More Nuculum. It seems early doors yet. I mean, I've barely touched the sides of it, but clearly it's a popular thing. What else? Nemesis Retaliation. That not finished. It's done. They topped over 12 million funded on that. That's a ridiculous amount of money, really, isn't it? Fair dues to them. I did back it. I only backed it for the base miniature game, and I added on the couple of extra army dudes into it. Just more options for players. That's it. I didn't get any of the action factions, races, bling, all kind of. The problem is, I have the first 2 Nemesis games. I bought the Carnomorphs on the last expansion, Lockdowns game found Kickstarter, whatever the fuck it was, which I've never used, the Carnomorphs yet. And then I had the stretch goals in the Lockdown, which had the cryptids or the kind of bug thing. I never played with that. So I was like, why would I buy any more extra factions? Because I'm species aliens. Because I'm not probably ever going to play with them ever. So I didn't do that. So I just got the dudes because I thought there's more gameplay options as we play it. The dudes, 2 soldiers there was, and frankly, in the after value, not that I'm going to sell it anyway, but the only thing that really seems to have any value post these things is the medic character that they added as an add-on previously, and Aftermath had a bunch more characters, and so characters are the king that people kind of really want, and I get that, and it just, we'll see. I don't know any more than that. As the campaign went, it felt a bit rudimentary. It didn't feel like an adventure we're going on. It felt like a pre-built thing, pre-assigned. They keep doing these things that allow people to vote for the miniatures of the expansion stuff, which whatever, but sometimes you kind of go, don't let people do this. People are fucking stupid. So you do end up with a bit of a Frankenstein's monster of weird selection choices sometimes in this stuff, where I think, you know what, you're the designers, you should have an aesthetic, an overarching view of what you want to do. Maybe do that. I'm neither here nor there at the end of the day. I know some people get heated over it because, hey, why are you picking that, you fucking idiot? It just seems a weird choice. I guess it's to gauge people. I think ultimately the problem is, whilst it was a good deal and a decent amount of choice, options there, or you had a for the base game, you got a pretty good value for money. I feel is that if you go back to Nemesis, the first one, that felt more like you engaged more. Frankly, this feels like an exchange at a supermarket where I went in and went, yeah, that's cool, I'm going to pay it over a few months, fine, I'll do that. And kind of, I looked in every so often, but I didn't feel engaged in the campaign. I didn't feel like I was there going on that journey, because everything was kind of just unlocking at set periods of time, and it all just felt very rote as we went through the thing. I didn't feel that engaged with it. It was just a transaction that took place, and I will get a thing in a long time from now. I don't know, maybe it's me getting old, or just maybe that's how crowdfunding's moved on, and maybe that's it. But I used to like the pioneering days of when you felt like you were really engaged with the creators on there, and you were all going on the journey together. Yes, it could have ended badly at all times. This is a safe bet, but I just whatever. Hasbro is laying off over 1,100 staff. 1,100 staff. That's probably an easy way of saying that. They've announced that just before Christmas, which is a bit of a douchey move if you ask. And I think some of them are going to take them in voluntary redundancies at the end of the year. Basically, the gist is Hasbro's toy divisions, actual action figure toy division side of it, is down. They're really not making much money on that at the moment. Magic the Gathering and all D&D side of it, and Wizards of the Coast side, is actually up. I think as its stock was down 21% this year. It's not great, as opposed to Mattel, who were up, probably buoyed by the Barbie movie. But it's an interesting take that, I mean, people were gnashing their teeth and all that. I mean, they are a business, and they are a huge conglomerate of things. So this, in the scheme of things, that's not a massive amount of staff losses. It's a shitty move to make it this time of year. But yeah, it will be interesting to watch how that develops over the years to come. Is toys going out of fashion? Do kids, as we move into the realms of the digital age, even more so in these digital kiddie winkies, how many of them are playing with toys anymore? Isaac does, but he has very specific choices and tastes. I remember back in the day, Star Wars was king, and having Star Wars action figures, that was what was the thing. That was what every Christmas Belden was, a new Star Warsy bit to add to the fun and all that, and it just feels these days, even with Isaac now, is that what he wants is less of that sort of stuff. He's 5, so maybe when he gets a bit older, but I don't think there's these linchpin things. I'm not a child, so I don't know, but to track, even my older boys never felt like there was that moment where they can engage with a thing and figures. Granted, we haven't had Star Wars for a while, and that's usually seems to be one of those, but Marvel, but I look at the toys of Marvel, and they don't actually, I don't know, it's weird. They always seem to produce lots of heroes and never any bad guys. You think, how can a kid coherently play with that and have an adventure? It's weird. Anyway, what do I fucking know? But that's happening. Meanwhile, in the opposite spectrum of that is Games Workshop. It gave it bonus to its staff of $2,500 as its profits are up 2.5%. Go Games Workshop. A bit of local talent there. Personally, for me, I can't afford fucking Games Workshop. And I did like it when they were producing the occasional kind of standalone, one-off board games stuff. They were quite cool, but they seem to have gone back off the boil on that of late. But they did do things like, I'm trying to remember its name now, Gore-Chosen and a few other things, which, you were getting not a bad price, some minis, some Games Workshop quality minis in the game that was, mildly fun. But yeah, I don't know. Well, it's not something I ever want to return to. I did, in the 90s as a young man, I had some disposable income and had a lot of Games Workshop and did enjoy it at the time. But not for me. Not for me. I can't, unless I become extortionately rich. That's not happening. Then what happened? Well, in between all of this, I got something for YouTube, my stats for the last year, which wasn't that thrilling, to be honest with you. So in 2023, I gained 88 new subs. Okay. Well done, all you new 88 of you. I don't know. I had 7,357 views, whatever the fuck that means. And the top viewed video, unbelievably, in a shocking turn of events, was my baiting the click video on... we're probably going to have to do a wrap up at the end of the year on some of this stuff, actually. The baiting clip on Mythic Games and Six Siege and all that shit, which I must admit I haven't checked into recently, but I can imagine it's just still a dumpster fire with people hopefully hoping against hope that they're going to get something. Wasn't it about this time of year that they were supposed to be delivering? I don't, clearly not. I will do a bit of catch-up homework on that, and we can do an end-of-year wrap-up. What about that? 194 hours of people watching that fucking nonsense. Well, there you go. So if I wanted to grow the channel exponentially, clearly I just need to produce tons and tons of clickbait shit. Who knew that word? And that will do it. I can't be asked to do that. If there is stuff of particular interest, I will focus on it, but I can't be asked to make that my bread and butter because it's a lot, it's high energy, it's exhausting. Advent calendar still progresses, though having said that, actually we're now probably I think about 8 windows or more behind on that, so we need to do a catch-up, a mammoth session of catch-up. What we've played of it I really quite enjoyed. The issue is spending time in the mornings. I'm up and at work, so there's no way we're doing it in the mornings. In the afternoons we'll get back in and I collapse and I'm knackered. So there you go, but we will do some of that. But yeah, what I've played of it I've enjoyed. Get more game news. Burnt Island Games have announced Save the World, a worker placement game of Don't Look Up, the board game, about a big asteroid about to hit Earth, and you do worker placement to save it. If you could have sent them up like oil miners up to space and save it that way, I would have been maybe on board with. But anyway, Armageddon, God bless you. WizKids have announced Star Trek Into the Unknown. It's a 2 to 6 player game. They keep quoting the most detailed models with this. Now, WizKids don't have a good track record of really miniatures or bits attached to their games. They're normally pretty fucking awful. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It sounds like Star Trek, like an actual Star Trek game, kind of, where you're venturing out and you're going on your mission and finding strange new worlds and stuff. It's sort of 4xe, sort of kind of crosses paths with Ascendancy, which I've not played since we played it last time, which one player that. I do want to kind of return to that at some point. But yeah, I don't know. That came up. That was a thing. There's also Zev Slasinger of Z-Man Games, who was the founder of Z-Man Games, is now set up his own board game company. Something Play Z. Shit. Oh well. Anyway, he's doing that. Like Zev, he's a lovely chap, Zev. And always felt like he was kind of strong-armed out of Z-Man at the time. So him coming back into the fold is interesting. He's got Bonacor from Strongholders on there as the board of directors and a couple of other board game luminaries. I mean, these guys know their stuff. They've been on the box. So we'll see. They're doing a spacey themed thing as the first thing on a Kickstarter. But that was kind of it. But bloody Kickstarter. But we'll see. And Z-Man will be publishing them for them. So there we go. It's a strange circular moment. That is all of that. Last few things I did see the other day made me a bit sad was Ian Gibson, the artist from 2000 AD, had passed away after a battle with cancer. I didn't know Ian was ill, to be honest. I didn't, and I missed that he'd gone. It was Monday, I think we lost him. There was what I found sad was his son had set up a GoFundMe for a tombstone, gravestone and bits and pieces for him, because he basically he's died a bit of a pauper, not a pauper. You think this is a man who touched many children. That's a bad use of words. And part of my childhood growing up, 2000 AD, Gibson's art in Robo Hunter was, and I loved Robo Hunter, was there. He had a real kind of cartoony, like this fun feel to his, real good character artist. That kind of crossed the line between Whizzer and Chips and heavy metal, if you get my meaning. Just that good kids artists go there, words failing me. I really liked his art. And Halo Jones, I mean, this is the man who drew a Halo Jones, which sadly we never got the complete saga of Halo Jones because of the falling out between Alan Moore and IPC, or 2000 AD's publishers at the time, over rights issues. And you've got to go, you think Gibson, he probably was never really paid his due for what he did. Worked less in the later years, did a bunch of other stuff, but for me personally, Halo Jones and Robo Hunter, I'd stand head and tails of all of his output. And he also did the art for the 2000 AD Judge Dredd board game, was his. So yeah, it's sad, but it was good to see that there'd been a bounce back by the fans. I think it funded they got about over 12,000 or more. It was climbing when I last saw it, which they only needed $5,000. So at least the fans have come clean and done their bit. But yeah, bit sad at the end of the day to lose Ian, because he was a marvellously, fantastically talented chap. Defining moment of my childhood, as I seeing his art and reading them, and our heroes are all getting old and we miss it. We're getting old. Shit, I've got old. Sucks balls. Anyway, there we go. What else have I been doing? Watching stuff. Not a lot. I watched Doctor Who. Been watching that. I'd lost my way with Doctor Who. Since Matt Smith, really, I'd kind of just grown up, I think, out of it and wasn't really engaged with it. But I've watched the Tennant ones because I used to like David Tennant. And it's got that whizzy-wee feel of Doctor Who. They've all been fairly solid. What was quite nice to see is the first episode, Meep episode or whatever it was called, was off of a Pat Mills and Dave Gibbons comic book from the 80s, I think it was. And it was nice to see their names come up at the credits as writers involved in it. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. The last one was excellent. Had Doogie Howser in it, amazing. And introduced a new Doctor, and there's 2 Doctors. I wouldn't say much else to spoil it, but I think it's one maybe I'd see if Isaac will engage with it, because it does feel it's got that right level of I can see that hide behind the pillow feel for the younger kids, and it's got that vibe. I mean, and now it's got some money behind it because Disney are part financing it now. The Christmas special, I'll watch that. I don't know, we'll see. It's got just still the right appeal of a little bit naffness feel to it, but it just seems to be joyful and full of Doctor Who joy. If that's your thing, then go for it. I watched Bodies the other night. This would have been another one to add to probably my board game movie video selection I did. Well, it's essentially a werewolf, a bunch of millennials, I think it is, really playing game Bodies, a werewolf in a house in the middle of a storm. It turns into a bit of a Agatha Christie's whodunit. It's A24 did it, so it's a bit stylized, it's a bit stylish. The cast are really good. Lots of everyone being triggered and using all, and gaslighting and all this, and throwing all these barbs at each other, and it's very on the nose, and it made me chuckle. Pete Davidson depends your mileage on him. He's great in it, and again was very funny. And it's a really good, it's a solid movie. Stick with it, and it's got a really good. It real nails the landing on it. The ending is very good. I amused it by it immensely, and very good. Bodies for A24. Worth a watch if that's your thing. You may feel old watching it, but I enjoyed that. Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny. Watched that. Ultimately, found it a bit dull. Haven't watched it all. It didn't engage me at all. It's not Spielberg, clearly, and we know it's James Mangold, guy who directed Logan more recently, and a bunch of other stuff. I don't have necessarily an issue with him or his direction, though it all just feels a little bit morose, if I'm honest with you. Kind of doesn't feel high adventure. Granted, Harrison Ford's old, so maybe he's not high energy anymore, but you know what? He's giving grumpy old man vibes all the way through the movie. It's just a bit, just feels unnecessary. We got 3 really good Indiana Jones movies, and the third one ended with a great ending. And you kind of go, yeah, actually, you know what? We should have stopped there. Because Crystal Skull is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not even going to apologise for it. It's watchable, but yeah. But this, ultimately, I don't know. Watch it. It's on Disney Plus. Just everything about it just felt a bit dull. The action scenes don't feel great. They don't feel like they're vigor or push to it. And I think that's the thing. I was sat there watching now. You think of Raiders of the Lost Ark is a movie that hits the ground running and just keeps on trucking. I mean, it is just like bang, 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 and it's knocking it out of the park all the way. Action sequences are really engaged, gone. It's got such drive and an economy of everything. It's lean, that movie. And this just is a big flabby, wobbly blur, and it's kind of just not really going anywhere very fast. It's doing a lot, but ultimately not doing a lot. And it just doesn't drag you along on that adventure. At least in the watch I was watching of it. And it all just feels a bit overly CGI'd. They're trying to get the 1960s aesthetic of the cities and all that. I get, but so much of it, when they're doing it, feels all fake. So it doesn't engage you. I think that's my issues with it. I'll watch the end of it, because I haven't watched it all, so I have to sit down and watch the rest of it and see how it all finishes up. But yeah, if you've got Disney Plus, watch it, because it's not costing you any more. And it's Indiana Jones, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of left going, much as we all wished and wanted them to return to our beloved franchises and give us our nostalgia back, it's actually, has any of it been any good? But yeah, there we go. So Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny. I will watch the very final last half hour, whatever got left of it, but I just wasn't engaged and kind of was doing up for stuff while it was on, which is a shame, because I really wanted to. I was hoping that there was one final last hurrah in Indy. It's okay, but it really should have been so much better. Or not at all. There you go. So that is that. We are very near to the big day. It's merely 10 days now, less than that. I mean, anyway, it's cracking on towards the big day. Isaac is very excited. I have the week off now with him. Jesus, it's going to be a long week. I will try and drop at least one more video before the big day. I'll try that. There's also the thoughts of the end of year. I do an end of year specially thing. I think it's a thing. So maybe potentially the one with all the games best played will come post Christmas. We'll see, as a treat for you. And there you go. There's lots of other options anyway. But I'll be mulling over stuff. We'll do things for the time being. Have fun. Look after yourselves. Be nice to one another. And get excited because the big day's coming. Santa will be coming soon, won't he, boys and girls? That'd be very exciting. Have you been a good boy or not? I don't know. Thank you. Good night. Goodbye. Farewell. Adieu. See you soon.